Anna, let me bring you in at this point, because I think you were over there just a couple of weeks ago, and I wonder if you could give us a kind of your sense of how things are on the ground from what you saw.
Yes, indeed. I returned from Sri Lanka about 2 weeks ago, and what I saw on the ground can probably best be described as a humanitarian disaster. And when I say humanitarian disaster, I refer both to those people who are trapped in this tiny area that you just described, but also those who managed to escape. In the conflict area, civilians, definitely, well, most likely more than 200,000 of them are trapped between a rock and a hard place. On one hand, LTT does not allow them to leave, and we documented several cases when LTT forces shot at people who were trying to flee the area.
This is just so I'm clear. And Tamil Tiger people fired at Tamils in order to prevent them from leaving. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely, and that's one of the greatest problems right now when we're advocating for humanitarian corridors for allowing civilians to leave. LTT is a big part of the problem. They do not allow civilians to leave. They do not want civilians to leave, largely because, and again, these are some of the cases that we personally documented, when LTT used civilians as so-called human shields to protect their positions from attack. They placed their positions in front of the camps of the displaced persons near the hospitals. So, and this is, plainly speaking, a war crime.
Okay, let me get some feedback to that here in Toronto for a second. David, you need to speak to
yes,
that.
what we hear is a different story from the ground. We hear the deep penetration units of the Sri Lankan army. They wear uniforms like LTT. They go into the areas. They are shooting at civilians. They are putting the blame on the Tigers. That's what we hear. But we respect HRW. It's a great organization. But first of all, we have to understand they are not on the ground. They went up to Vavuniya. They heard the evidence from Vavuniya where the illegal detention camps, internment camps are being operated. People are so scared to tell the true story.
Okay, let me hear from Anna. Anna, is his explanation possible?
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. I think, I assume Tamils can tell a Sri Lankan soldier from an LTT cadre. And the accounts we got were definitely not from Sinhalese propaganda. They were from people who were trapped in these areas, who themselves tried to flee, or who lost family or neighbors in these kind of incidents.
Okay, Lennon, do you have any reason to suspect Human Rights Watch's report on this?
Of course, actually, it's very clearly she has said. It's been, even the United Nations has given a very clear statement. It says, the LTT continues to actively prevent people leaving, and reports indicate that a growing number of people trying to leave have been shot and sometimes killed. It's not my wording. It is the United Nations issue.